Now, before we dive into today's big topic, let's hit you with a little teaser. Have you ever felt like social media is either making or breaking modern relationships? Or wondered if your investment strategy is ready for the evolving market in 2025? And here is a big one. Can you actually have a civil, political conversation at the dinner table without it turning into a debate showdown? Well, stick around because in this episode, we're going to unravel the mystery behind love in the digital age, starting to invest and diversifying politics at the dinner table. This is Chris and Cappy with Bun and Build podcast.
It's Chris.
And this is Cappy. Welcome. Okay. So today we are talking our three usual breakdown. We have relationships, how to dive into relationships today, how they are like from before to now. Investments is going to take our second segment, investing in 2025. And politics, how we can no longer talk about politics with other people because it has become a show. Let's do this. And guys, before we start, please make sure to check the website. If you're interested in the show notes for this show, you can just hit on under the podcast, under the episodes, just hit the button and then it'll be giving you a PDF that you can download and keep. And they're actually pretty good. It's background information on what we talk about today. And make sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram and all other social media platforms at Bun and Build Podcast. And you can also listen to the show by going on our website, www.bunandbuildpodcast.com, or you can find us on all major podcast platforms at Bun and Build Podcast. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are starting with relationships today. We always start with relationships. All right, so let's start with relationships, love in the digital age, navigating social media and relationship boundaries. Basically, how is your relationship affected by, I guess, technology today, and how much easier or not easier it was back then? I think that's all in perspective from the person.
Long distance for me. I've done it. I think you have to. I don't know if it would help. Maybe it might help because then you could see the person's life more. I guess you feel more connected through social media versus back then. You just kind of maybe talk on the phone. You hear the stories. You may not hear the stories, but that also depends on how social the person is. Because not everybody is very social on social media at all. Like my brother has zero social media presence.
It doesn't exist.
He doesn't exist.
You know, he's alive to his wife, and if she can post him.
Well, that's true.
I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a good or bad thing, but I do believe that people who overshare sometimes are like trying to prove a point. Like I'll share my relationship, but it's not like all the time. Like, I don't know, like I have like people I followed and then they overshare and then you find out the guy was cheating or something happened and now they divorced it and they portrayed this like perfect relationship online and it really wasn't. So I think when you overshare, sometimes you're trying to prove a point. So I think there has to be a balance.
Well, what I hear is with the social media is when you had so many years of relationship and all of a sudden you delete your whole feed just because the person was in there. Like, I mean, that's still part of your history regardless.
I think that's retarded, like, period. And plus, I don't have that kind of time. I'm not going around to delete like 100 pictures just because we're no longer talking. It's like, it's not that deep. And I guess at that point, you're not that important anyways. I'm not spending this kind of energy. But yeah, I think it's a good thing to stay connected. But I think it's also a bad thing for people with jealousy problems. So yeah, like this girl is in your DMs again and stuff like that. Or why are you checking on this person's page? But I think some people have like, I guess, insecurity issues past the social media. Like if a guy, dude, a guy is going to check girls on social media. Like, if you're worried about that, then you might as well just take his phone away. Like, you can't be unrealistic thinking your guy is not, it's social media. And that's very hypocritical. Because, like, let's be serious. You're checking dudes on social media. Actually, I've realized that girls are way more thirsty on social media than guys. Like, bad. Like, if you see a guy, like, half naked, dancing or something, the comments under is just so inappropriate. It's like, you guys are like a piece of meat or something. Like, bad. It's worse. So I think, yeah, for like people who have jealousy or low self-esteem issues, it's a problem.
Yeah, because yeah, as you said, like I guess I myself, like our guys just scroll, they send each other stuff, girls, but it's girls that you're never gonna meet. The chance of a guy actually getting most of those girls who's on social media is very slim. So the point of you getting upset with something that's probably never gonna happen is kind of stupid, but it happens all the time. But it does open a window for some guys to get lucky and they can go ahead and get into those DMs for an actual girl. Because it's easier to find these days girls now than you would never have found before through social media. Like before, it was maybe you meet at a club or somewhere else, but you could be sitting on the toilet and you found some girl online that looks hot and you send a message.
Disgusting. But actually,
But
it's
I'm
true.
just
Look,
saying,
there's a thing here. It says married individuals not on social media report being 11% happier than those who actively use it. That means if you're not on it, you're happier. But another fact, no opposite sex friendships online. 60% of affairs start with just a friend on social media from the American Psychological Association. So 60% started on, I guess, on a DM. So I could see the hype.
yeah, them friends gotta go. Bye.
Well, I think that would be a different story. That's because Chris believes that a girl and a guy cannot be friends. I believe we could be friends.
No, they're just waiting. Just waiting.
I don't believe that. I will still stick to the end of the day believing a woman and a man can be friends.
The easiest girl to hook up with would be somebody you know. They might ask if you even have a chance is a different story. But do you both have things in common? You have a good relationship. You might most supposedly a nice guy because clearly you're friends.
Yeah, you're just friends.
Yeah.
Friend zone.
Until there ain't nobody there. Then what?
No.
Y'all broken up, he pissed. This dude's an asshole, and then where you fall into? Oh, come, let's go dinner, talk about it. Mm-hmm.
I still think you can.
Right. No.
Let's stay on topic, my friend. So it also says privacy and transparency. I guess that's what I was talking about. Like, you're sharing too much, you're trying to prove a point. And yes, comparing yourself, your relationship. People always think it's greener on the other side. Let me tell you, people. And nobody sharing the fights on social media. I'm not going to be here on IG be like, Chris and I are fighting today, guys.
People do. The crazy ones.
Well, I guess that's
Oh,
also if your page.
on TikTok. They'll share that shit.
But TikTok is for weird people.
That's exactly
Like,
right.
it's serious weird
TikTok
people.
people will share that shit.
So for normal people platform, nobody is sharing like, like the bad. It's just a highlight of your good days. Plus, the grass is never greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. I would like to say that.
I can see a social media reel right there.
Yeah. It's too bad people who only listen to audio can't see the moves. But yeah, stop comparing your relationship to what you see on social media. And then to find out that the people are divorcing next month. It wasn't that good to begin with, bro. Your relationship is just fine. Nobody's relationship is perfect. Everybody argues. Nobody looks like they look like on their Instagram 24/7. Those chicks needed. No, like, stop comparing your life to freaking social media. Dude.
Yeah, definitely think so.
Period.
The ones who are oversharing, the $50 million weddings, those are the first ones to go ahead and get down the toilet because they went in for what? The money, the rich guy. Overspending relationships never work.
Not necessary. That could work too. It depends on what you're used to.
Depends.
And if you have money and you come from money too. So I think it's like all depends. And I think now in our days, like people are becoming more jealous and more possessive and stuff. I don't know. I think things used to be easier because everything was more private. You couldn't put everything online. So I think it made things a little bit easier.
I guess. Guess who you are, who you're dating. Then you look at their profile. You start digging into what they're doing.
And some people might get obsessed. Like I saw you were on your friend's story. You said you were home, and then I saw you were in the streets.
Club somewhere.
Slackers. You should get better friends. Yeah, like that was a joke. That's not your friend's fault. But yeah, like I don't know. To me, I think we grew up in a better time in a way because we had so much more privacy, not only for relationships, but for like everything. I mean, you live more in the moment. Dude, what happened to sharing notes in class?
High school, we're old.
Okay, but even relationships now, high school, they won't share notes. Like they're like, send me a Snapchat. If we're still, I guess we're still doing Snapchat. But you know what I mean, right? Now everything is online. Like these people, can they even write? Do you guys even still write? It's just like I was watching Thai yesterday, and it's like the thumb work, bro. It's ridiculous. It's like I don't know. It's a whole operation. So yeah, and it says 23% of adults in relationship feel jealous or insecure due to their partner's social media activity. 34% of them are among the age of 18 to 29. And then the increased Instagram usage is linked to lower relationship satisfaction and more conflicts. Cheating has never been easier. I guess that's what you were saying. A 2023 study found that 74% of people believe social media makes infidelity more accessible. That is very true, but I guess it's more for the lucky ones, like you say. But I think it's weird because I've had guys just like message me like, hi. And then to me, it's just like, it's just hi. But Chris thinks it's more than that. I'm like, it's impossible. My bio literally begins with, I'm a mom, a wife, and something else.
You could be high and by, no relationship, no strings attached. She don't want to get married, but she might give me a little something on the side.
Nah, bro.
That's literally what that means.
I just take it as high.
But it's see it as, okay, is he being good to you? Is he satisfying
Yeah, no.
you?
And then I think, so we're clear, guys, like if you go into, or even a girl, into somebody's DM just saying hi, it's just like really random. It's really what the fuck, like lead with something else.
Remember we had the boys had that debate about messages to send. I think it was the same thing. They were
Yeah.
debating whether the whole hi thing was it or you need to do something special and
No, I think
corny.
you should say hi and then something.
I think it also probably depends on how well you know them too. Because if it's somebody connected to maybe, they should probably respond back. Like if it's a friend of a friend who kind of know you, I think hi is a easy enough opening line versus after the whole explanation of a corny joke when, hey, you kind of know me. So don't be like, I had the pickup line. Then it just seems like you're being a creeper now. You just open the door to a small conversation for somebody that kind of know you.
I don't know. Maybe I've just been out the loop too long.
I'm just saying, you don't have to be complicated. If you responds, but
I don't know.
if
It's the same way when I call you guys in the house and I say your name and you don't respond, I have to follow with, can you come here?
us, you have to know why, because you always come with some annoying thing.
We're just getting rude.
And just we gotta walk down to hear what the rest of the conversation is, and you're like, why am I here exactly? Couldn't send me a text message?
It was something very important.
Or
If I call
Snapchat.
you, it's very important. I'm not freaking Snapchatting you.
I think the problem with the whole social media thing is then you start to put together this specific list of things, boxes to check off. Like, this person, I like to do this, I like to do that. So this person has to have this particular features and, versus you meet somebody in a club and just like, you just have a chemistry, yes or no. All right, then bye.
There's nothing worse than an unrealistic checklist.
Yeah. Which you never really realize how do you look on that other side of the checklist? With your no goals, nothing.
And half of the time, you can even check your checklist. That'd be ridiculous. Oh, I want a guy who makes at least $1 million. Have you made $1 million in your life?
Yeah, you want the rich guy with the car, the money, 6'4", build muscles while you're, you know,
Well, you don't even go to the
you
gym.
don't go to the gym, you don't work out, you didn't finish, you didn't not in college, no nothing, but you gotta get the high quality guy because I'm a bad bitch.
I don't know. I see some of those things online these days and I'm like, these chicks are like freaking unrealistic. And then they're going to tell you there's no guys out there. Yeah, it's because you guys are all going after the same one guy.
Yeah, the same one guy.
Like,
You need to work on
and then
yourself.
you wonder why you can't keep him because there's just all of you throwing yourself at him. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with a UPS guy, right? Like, first of all, they make money. I think they have great benefits. They're in uniform. I mean,
Something you want to talk about? Sound a bit thirsty.
But you get the point. Like the regular guy, like not the guy doesn't always have to be like this, like Fortune 500 and yeah, and then it's the whole what do you have to offer?
Yeah, to me, most relationships should be a 50-50 type of thing. Maybe not always paying half, but you should come to more to the table than just, you're hot. There's 1,000 hot girls out there. If one thing,
These days there
if
really
one
is.
thing Instagram is going to show you, there's 1,000 hotties out there. So if you ain't coming more than that, you ain't get nothing. Any type of real guy, high value guy that has a shit together, he's getting tons of ass somewhere. Like you have to come in more than that. They want somebody who is going to provide value, help them build them up. And if you're an idiot, that nice Gucci is only going to get you so far.
You're great in the bedroom and it either because he can pay for that shit.
Exactly.
Too. Like,
that's the next thing. Yeah, I can pay for it. So it's like,
I get it for free depending
yeah.
on who the guy is. So it's just like, so yeah, with that, I believe that, and I guess that's through the self-development thing too that you learn. And I think it's true. You have to become what you want to attract. So if you want a guy who works out, if you want a guy who works out, maybe you'll meet him at the gym. Have you tried going to the gym? You know what I mean? Like, when you want a funny guy, maybe you try become more fun. You want a clean guy, is your house clean, You want a guy who's going to cook for you. Can you cook? And by the way, I am very scared for my poor child and my future daughter-in-law because apparently none of you girls can cook these days in the next generation. I'm going to need you all to get you some cooking classes. And I do not care for all the ones who are going to come at me with, oh, that is so sexist and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we can manage to do it all. And there's a time and a place for a man and a woman. I'm very modern, but I'm also conservative to a certain way. Chris cooks, like, I made the stuff today and he finished the meal. So like we can alternate, but I feed my family every day. Like unless I'm not in the mood and we'll order something out. But first of all, I like to know where my food is coming from. Like we've become so picky with stuff that I rather cook anyways. But yeah, like it's in this modern age. She doesn't need to cook and why should I cook? No, 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 no. And you know what? Like, it's nice to cook for somebody once in a while. Or cook for yourself. Like, just get you some cooking lessons, bro.
Yeah, trust me. If anything, that's at least one value you could provide is, oh, she's a great fucking cook. Like, to me, that's a big perk as a woman is like, every guy loves food, especially comes from your wife or somebody you like. It's even better. Because to me, at the end of the day, as a guy, I'd be like, then what do I have you here for? If you can't provide anything else other than your good looks, it's like, what do you do for me?
And then I kill it every holiday. Everybody loves to come to my house to eat. Like, I don't know. And I think it's a part of your feminine energy, but that's a different story because now guys be feminine but anyways, that's a topic for another day. So I guess now we can move into investment. That would be our next part of our segment. So investment, starting to invest and diversifying. Jesus Christ, that word is hard. Okay, I'm going to read a disclaimer, guys, word for word, because, we just have to cover basics. The information provided in this conversation is for informational and educational purposes only. We offer general opinions and basic research based on public available data. This content should not be considered financial investment, legal, or professional advice. Always conduct your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor or professional before making any investment financial decisions. We do not guarantee the accuracy, completeness, and reliability of any information provided. Any action you take based on this content are at your own risk. I feel like one of those things you hear on
I'll take a breath. You need some water?
yes, in the headphones. So for those who completely zoned out through this, we're not professionals. This isn't financial advisement. This is our opinion, and this is based on research we've done online. So do not listen to us for financial advice. Do your own research. This is just ideas and personal opinions and things we may do and whatsoever. So we're going to start with, I guess, my first take is you should invest what you could afford to lose.
Yes, that's definitely the first key. I mean, it's very intimidating talking about investing. It seems like people really struggle on investing, but to me, the thing is, it's something you have to do. It's part of growing up, honestly. But to me, the key is start from young. The younger you are, the more to accumulate over time, compounding. And you just need to start. It seems intimidating. You can't depend on, hopefully, you may become a millionaire later in life. Even if you become a millionaire in life, that million is only going to last so long if you don't invest it well and keep it growing.
Inflation, baby.
Yeah, inflation. Which is going to be at a minimum 3% every year. So you'll be losing money every year.
If your money is just sitting there. And then one thing we've learned, because we didn't start investing or learning, I guess, about investment until like COVID time, when we were staying home and everybody was sharing more information.
It was a boom for everybody, I think. I think everybody a lot of more people started investing in COVID time.
Yeah. And I think there was so much more information and you had nothing else but being home with information, and then jobs, people weren't really working. So you were just like consuming content. So to me, if you don't start making a move then and everybody was talking about it, then like, what are you doing? Because you're supposed to you live, you learn, and you apply. And I think for us before, like you hear about investment, but you always think it's like for rich people, like you have to be like a millionaire to invest. And I think around that time, that's the next thing. It became more for the regular person. And then they started coming for all these apps.
Actually, yeah, you're right. That is what some of the stuff was, because all the apps changed and made things out open for people to invest smaller amounts, because that wasn't always a thing too. I mean, I had an account since I was in my college years. It just went to shit because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just grabbed a few things and put it in. It went to nothing, and that was it. It wasn't until, around COVID time is when we started getting into investing and learning it more. But the key is really just, as you said, take some money, throw it in there. The easiest thing to invest in is look at the major companies online. I guess stuff that you buy and you like. To Amazon, the Tesla's a hard topic these days, but Tesla is a good company overall. Tesla, Amazon, all the bigger companies, Apple, Facebook, the companies that have been doing very well for a very long time, the most likely not going anywhere. That's always a good place to start. AT&T is a good stock because they also provide dividends. So, they pay every year. Dividend is basically every year they give you like a percentage of their gains. If they had a good year, they give you maybe like $2, $3 per share that you have. So, that's always
Start small. Even if you're doing like $10, $15 a week, at least get in the habit of doing it. And then you can grow from there. Like your income grows or you feel more comfortable, then you can just start doing a little bit more.
I think don't be intimidated on the stocks. I mean, what you have to realize is if you're a short-term investor or what they call a day trader, where it's like you follow the market up and down, yes, do a lot more research, take some courses. But if you're doing it for long-term growth of, your retirement, stuff like that, don't stress the up and down. Every year, look at the history. If you want to do research, look at the history of any stock, whether it's, Nvidia, which is the hot one right now, or Tesla. It starts out at X price And every year, it's gonna keep going up and up and up and up. It's gonna do this all the time. So there's gonna be a bad time, which is Tesla right now. It's a bad time because of the whole Elon political stuff. But Tesla, still, the price a year, 2 years ago was a lot less than it is today. So although it went, 50% down, it's still higher than it was, last year. So don't be scared of the gains. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking about where that stock potentially be in the next, you know, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Like if Tesla's still around, it's still going to be a very good stock, no matter what political nonsense is going on or stuff like that. It's a long-term investment. Now, if it's going to shit where it's like the closing, yeah, you might want to pay attention and get rid
Yeah,
of
you're
it.
losing that money.
Yeah, you're losing it. But all of the political stuff, this CEO did this, or the company, or this looked like, let's say the whole, getting into a different kind of throwing off a little, but let's say the whole, when the COVID shots and it came out, the COVID shots are bad and they're killing people, the stock might have tanked. But guess what? It's a good company overall. Those bad little things is going to happen. People are going to forget about it tomorrow and it's going to go back up again. So don't stress those little, if you buy a thing, they call it dollar cost averaging. Just buy what you can afford today. Buy it, forget about it. Keep buying over every year, every month, putting in something towards it. This is where we do it.
So also what we do is I don't focus too much on the stocks. Like we split who learns about what. So he learns about stocks and I learn about metals. Oh no, he got stocks and crypto. I learn about metal and then we go from there. And then yeah, like we each have our department and that works for us. I'm super obsessed with metals, but we'll talk about that after. So they say the stock market has averaged 10% annual return for the past century. That means you're always going to gain your money. What is it they say? Real investors tell you that when the market is down, it's a sell. It's time to buy.
Yeah, that's the next thing too. I hate seeing this whole, the market is red and fear and the whole panic that people put into the whole stock market. When things are down, as you just said, everything is on sale. Just buy that shit, dude. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be over. It's gonna change. Oh, it's crashing. No, it's gonna change. It's today is down. That's a good time to buy. All the rich guys, they save for these moments where everything goes to shit. Oh, the war is starting, all that stuff. That's when look at like 2008. The people who had money saved up, they bought all the stuff that was left. You can bank on when things go bad, when you have cash, that's when things do really well because you can afford to buy things
On
on
sale.
sale. It get discounted, you know.
Kind of like TJ Maxx of stocks and real estate.
Yeah. So don't be scared of things going on. When things are doing bad, I guess the key too is also forget about timing the market. Timing in the market is hard for in the people like us, regular guys. It's hard because you don't know how much further things can go, whether it's real, manipulated, what political things can come out tomorrow. So it's always just good to try and buy. You don't want to buy when it's at peak, but don't always stress those things. Buy when you can afford it. Just throw it in there. Don't overthink it too much. It's not about today. It's about tomorrow. And tomorrow will be definitely better. So just buy it, put it on hold. But the easiest thing to do is buy things that are, I guess there's different ways of investing. There's risky investing, and then there's more reliable investing. The big major companies are the most reliable ones, but then there's the ones like we call the SPACs, where it's like a new company where it's a new hot shiny object. It may or may not be. It might go up, might go down. You might get it when it's really low, maybe at $10, but it could eventually be in the next 5, 10 years. It could be the next $1,000 company. That's how things work, but it becomes more risky because they don't have a good track record as far as history goes. So that's another tip too.
They say 6.4% of expected market return for 2025 with a 7.6% long-term annual average. and the US GDP is projected to grow by 4% over the next decade. Yeah, your money is always growing. So your savings should always be in something that's making you more money. Like it shouldn't be sitting. You should always have
Cash on hand.
cash on hand, like, like savings account in cash, but you should have your long-term money investment invested in something that's not going to depreciate or that's going to beat inflation. So that's one thing I really started learning through 2020. Like your money really depreciate. Like if you have a savings account, and savings account these days don't give you nada, like
2 to 4%.
nothing, like
If that high.
2 to 4% if you're lucky. At a conventional bank, they don't give you nothing. Now those online banks are giving you more, but I've been reading and seeing that they've been not like Capital One and stuff hasn't been like giving like the percentage they promise they advertise, I guess, people. So that's been a big hot one. So
Seen some places offering higher. I think Apple
it's
was doing
only
it, but I don't know what the
yeah, it's
catches
only
were.
done online.
I don't know what the
Those
catches
online
were.
companies
Yeah.
give you better rates, but apparently it's been a freaking disaster. But yeah, but it's still better to invest. Like just don't leave your money sit somewhere.
All right. So a couple of sites I guess I'd recommend as far as apps and companies. Charles Schwab is a pretty good company to get your stock spot from. The reason I like them, I think Robinhood has it too. Is another company.
You mean to open the account to
open
get
account, get
started on
started.
investing?
Robinhood is pretty cool too. They have this feature where you can buy what they call slices. So basically, say if you have a budget of let's say $100, $200, you can go and pick from a specific list of stocks. I think it's about 500 or 1,000 stocks, and it'll just evenly divide it into whatever budget you have. So you pick 5 stocks at $100, it'll just divide it down. $25 for this one, $25 for that one, whatever. Which is something cool because let's say a stock like Amazon, I don't know what the current rate is, but it's maybe like $500. So you can own 0.005 of Amazon and keep putting into that over time. Also, you can look at apps like Acorn. Acorn is pretty cool because what they do is they round up your change.
Isn't there another app that does that?
There's another one called,
I think Kus was talking to.
I think Acorn is the one he has.
Oh.
And then there's one called Stash, where they kind of manage it for you, where you kind of just pick, I guess, from groups of stocks and they kind of put it together. So it's less, I guess, less stress of picking and choosing. And for my international people, there's actually something called eToro that basically they handle international brokerages because like stuff like the Charles Schwab and Robinhood, those are more for US based companies, but eToro apparently does it. I have not tried it. I have no money who does it, but based on my research, eToro is good for international people. And they have a good long list of places that they cater to. As far as some YouTubers that I follow, you could look at ticker symbol U. That's the exact name. Sounds weird, but ticker symbol U. Andre Jig, he's pretty cool. And Minority Mindset, they are kind of more overall investing portfolio type guys. And they do a lot of,
Is that the Indian guy?
yeah. So he does,
Because he said they.
yeah. Well, they as in
Because
both.
I'm like the minority man since I follow him.
Yeah, but they do pretty much, I guess, more general finance.
I like him.
So yeah, he's pretty cool.
He does real estate.
Yeah. So, but they do, as I said, they do all types because they won't just do stocks. They'll do real estate. They'll do investing. I might mention crypto and I guess current events type stuff. So it's a very good overall one to look at. Stockmo is pretty cool. He's very more about the charts and specific companies. If you want somebody who's a bit more, two people more outside the box, you could look at Wall Street Trapper and Keenan Grace. They're two pretty cool guys. They have a very unique take on their crypto spiel and how they promote it versus the preppy guys. You know,
It sounds. I'm not sure if I've ever watched them. The Wall Street.
Wall Street Trapper. Yeah.
Yeah, that one definitely. I feel like Chris came so prepared. I don't have any sites and things for my section on metals. I didn't even think about it, but okay. When you're trying to make other people look bad.
So I told you I wanted to prepare.
No, nobody likes to show off. All right, that was some good info.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
Oh,
guess
one thing I do want to add,
one more show off.
I do have, I guess I won't show it to you here, but it'll be on the website. There is a chart. I don't have the details to provide here, but it do have my chat created a chart for me. Basically showed you how you can take your $250 investment over, I think, what was it, 10 years or something like that. And it's going to compare how putting your money in your mattresses versus doing the
Oh my God, I want to
savings
see that.
versus
I didn't look at it. You sent it.
crypto versus gold versus investing. The best one, honestly, was crypto. Unfortunately, by a lot. But I think it's because crypto is the hot shiny object, but it's the most risky, I would say, at this point. But the gains are a lot higher if you can afford
You
it.
can bank.
You can bank on it, and that's I guess why it's rated so high. I think everything else was, was good, but crypto was like twice the range. But you guys will see it on the chart.
I bet.
But we'll get into
That's
crypto.
in the show
That'll
notes
be in the show notes.
that you download as the PDF under the podcast in the episodes. Okay, so gold and silver. I love metals. I became obsessed in 2020. I don't know how I got into looking into the gold and metal. I think,
Robert Kiyosaki, the gold guy.
yeah, actually, you see, it was Robert. But I've watched him for a while, but he's really big on metals. He has a good story. But it was also, I think, like, I don't know, I think maybe like it was, like I said, we were all home and things were popping up and I started like, it became more of my vibe. And I became like,
Pretty coins.
yeah, I became obsessed. Oh my God. And they have these Egyptian collections. If you know anything about me, I'm obsessed with Egypt. So yeah, like, so they have like, I don't know, I feel like it's something you can hold and see and it's beautiful and, and when you pay attention to what it is too, it holds value. So metals are not to make money. Like you're not going to buy 1 ounce of gold and then you're going to be a billionaire, like, Bitcoin or anything like tomorrow. That's not what it's for. Your metal is more to save your money from inflation. That's really what it is. Because if you bought 1 ounce of gold in 2020, I think you could have bought some for like $1,662 an ounce. That includes the spot. Spot is the profit they charge on top of the ounce value of the gold. So if you spend that in 2020, now in 2025, today, gold hit $3,000. So like you didn't like bank, but if I kept that money,
Almost doubling your
I
money is
guess it
banking.
is. But if I kept that money in a savings account, in a conventional savings account, like, like a Citibank or something like that, that's going to give, what is it? They give you 0.00. There's so many zeros in front of that thing, percent interest, that you made, what, like $10? And yeah, like, I feel like you're winning a little bit more, and it's pretty. And depending on what you get, depending on what kind of coins you get too, they have different values. Because at that point, when there's two ways of buying metals. You can buy like regular generic, metals. Like you can buy generic bars and you're just buying it for the value of the melted gold or the melted silver. And it is per ounce. Whatever the market tells you per ounce is going to be that. But you always have a spot over because people always have to do their profit, whatever. But when you're buying coins, the pretty one I keep talking about, like you have American Eagles, that's your USA coins, most popular USA coins, but you can buy Krugers, which is your African coins. You can buy Maples, which is your Canadian coins. So you can buy different country coins, and depending on the country, they have more value. So now, instead of just getting the value of the gold for melt value for ounce, you can add like $150 or $200 on top of that that you would make as a profit because now it's more of a collectible coin. So like it has more value. So coins are better than buying anything that's like generic. But what people don't realize too is like when you try to sell, like actually when you buy jewelry, you're buying jewelry stores are charging you an arm and a leg for nothing. Basically, if you're buying, and that was a hard truth to learn, if you're buying a no-brand generic jewelry, if it's the stock, let's say the gold is 3,000 for an ounce today, and then you bought like an ounce and a half of a jewelry, not even like a precious stone, because unless it's a really rare stone, your stone has basically bare minimum value. So you're going to sell that ring and they're going to tell you, oh, they can only give you, no, they're going to charge you, you're buying it. Sorry, not selling it. This ring is going to be like $7,000. You just got. Because when if you try to get rid, you divorce that person or whatever, let's say it was a wedding ring, you try to get rid of that ring, they're giving you spot value on the metal they can send to melt. Well, so they say they can sell to melt. They will resell it to another person at an outrageous value. So basically the point of the story is when you buy your gold or silver jewelry, if you buy non-name brand, stick to something close to the value of the gold that day because it fluctuates every day.
Are you thinking about the gold or gold with, let's say, a diamond?
Both.
I think your example was more on with like a ring with a diamond, no?
Well, it was on both. The hard truth is that unless you're buying like an appraised, very fancy diamond, most diamonds that they're selling you, they sell you like it's all marketing. Diamonds are rare and blah blah. No, they're not. So the value you're gonna get for it isn't much.
Yeah, when you go to the pawn shop and you try to sell that ring that you spend $10,000 for with all your fancy diamonds, you're not gonna get anything really for
And
that.
you thought you had something, but you really don't. They're not gonna give you. They'll tell you that, oh, I can't really do nothing with the stone. That's why I said if it's an important. But now, if you have a Cartier jewelry or something name brand, then you can get value because of the brand name.
Or maybe if it's certified diamond, something.
That's why I said a nice diamond, like something higher end. But most people don't. So you think like, like your ring might be, but it's just emotionally worth 10,000. It's not actually worth $10,000.
And to be clear, what she's really saying too is that although you're buying jewelry, they do have a certain resale value over time. Because that gold chain you bought 10 years ago, if you sell that gold chain now, like a real nice, solid gold chain, you might get a lot more money for it later on. So that's technically
An investment.
An investment by in itself. But people typically don't buy jewelry thinking, oh, it's making me more money over time.
Unless you're Indian.
Well, yeah. But it's a lot of money appreciating over time. Well, it depends on the quality of the gold and stuff like that. And if you overpaid, that's a different story for the gold to begin with. But if you got it at, as you said, a good decent price for the actual weight of the gold, then you're gonna get a good value of it over time.
So that's something that Indian families apparently pass on that regular folks don't realize. Definitely not us in America. They buy all their savings in gold. Like you see like them wearing it and stuff, and it never has like a bunch of stones on it. It's just the gold because like you said, they bought it like 10 years ago at like $10. Like I'm just trying to do easy numbers. And then today's worth $100. They saved that inflation, like it still made money instead of depreciating. So that's an Indian thing that gets passed on that we don't know. But if you didn't know, now maybe you know.
You store your value worth, your net worth in jewelry. I mean, it's a pretty good thing to have, especially jewelry is something you can have, keep it, pass it down to the kids,
To daughters,
whoever,
nieces, whatever.
Yeah. We've had bracelets from a long time ago until we got into this stuff. We never realized, hey, this is worth more than, we thought that we got like so long ago.
Yeah, that you realize. Or you try to go buy jewelry now, and then it's just like, no, because gold is so high. It is not a good time to go buy a good gold chain.
Yeah, we never realized that too, is that I guess as time passes by more, jewelry is gonna get more and more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
What's probably gonna happen too is, I guess maybe that's why the rise of all that fake jewelry came about, is because jewelry is getting
Gold
more
plated.
gold plated, because jewelry is getting more and more expensive compared to where it was. Because as you just said, jewelry is almost double that it was, 5 years ago. So think about the chain that you might have been able to afford. Maybe you want to spend $500. That's now $1,000 chain.
Oh yeah, you can't
You
find
know what I
no
mean?
nice chain for
So unless
$500.
you really gonna want to spend that kind of money, which most people don't, it's probably gonna be fake. A lot of guys out there stunting with those big chains that are fake.
Probably, unless you're really balling. And then the next thing, the difference between silver and gold, the ounce price of silver is so low, but that's because they play with it, because they use silver for everything in Teslas, in computers. There's too much of an industrial use of silver for them to let it go high as gold, which is crazy because technically, biblical ways and stuff, silver still has a metal value that should be higher, but they play with it because can you imagine if silver was like $3,000 an ounce, like your Tesla or your computer would be like, you'll be buying computers for like 10 grand and shit. So,
Well, there is gold in devices too, just so we're clear. Like an iPhone, I think there's gold pieces.
yeah, but I think they shred so little of it compared to silver, and they don't use as much of it as silver. But gold is still very undervalued too, but we'll see. Maybe they're gonna let it rise. But yeah, and then one thing is, before we had fiat money, the dollar was actually most countries' money was backed by gold. So the they've messed up the value of gold and silver. But I think it's a very good way to hold value of your money, and it still will grow, but it's not something to be. You're looking to be balling. You're not going to buy 1 ounce of gold today and then tomorrow you're a millionaire. But it holds value and it increases in value more than if you had it sitting.
What are some good ways somebody would get started into, I guess, looking into gold, buying?
So for me, I had asked, there was someone I knew that pointed me out to a Facebook group where he was buying gold and he had a lot more cash. So he was buying big. I was just looking for something small to have, like a couple coins of silver. So like, you're spending like $100. So nothing major. But since he was spending like, 200K or something, I feel like it was trustworthy. If he can spend that much, I think the $100 can go. So he pointed me out to that community, and that's when I started going crazy. Now the group had apparently became spammy, last I've heard. So I don't think that would be a really good way. But the point of this was ask somebody you may know that may be investing in gold and silver, and then they can tell you who to buy from. But to start, if you don't want and you don't trust online either, you don't have someone to ask, you can look for local coin shops, which I think is a great way too, anyways, because let's say something happens to the internet or you want to resell your coin, you need some quick cash, you need to resell it or whatever. I think getting to know your local coin business owner, it's a good bet anyway, so you can like build a relationship. So just find someone local with good reviews. Learn, educate yourself first too, so that people don't take advantage of you. So you have to learn the lingo, spot value is the value over what they charge per ounce. And 24 karat and 14, 18 karat gold have different price per ounce. And then a lot of the Caribbean gold is 18 ounce. What you'll get usually at the jewelry store in the US is going to be 14 ounce. Your coins are the closest to pure gold, so they'll be 24. Not ounce.
All right.
Right.
So you want to get gold as closest to 24 as possible. So 18 would be great. The best one you said.
No, 18 is what you'll get in the Caribbean. Usually when you have 18 karat gold, it's someone who's got it in the Caribbean. 24 coins
I
are the purest.
I'm just saying, let's say if you're getting jewelry or something like that.
Oh, jewelry, yeah.
18 karat gold
18
would be the
usually
best
would
one.
be would be the closest you'll get. I'm not an expert, so I don't know if people do 28, but 18 is the most I've seen. Like
What is a
in
decent
general.
what is a decent spot number that somebody could look at? So you said don't get cheated. What would be a decent number, I guess?
It really depends.
I
Like
know it doesn't matter.
I like to stay like, and then it may vary. So like I like to stay like under $100 for an ounce of gold. Anywhere honestly around like $80 or less is good. It's very hard to find. But if you build that relationship and you find someone who's decent, then you're able.
Then explain that spot. That spot might have been like a percentage or something like that. So what is
It can be a percentage or it could be a specific number, like a certain amount that the person might charge you over. So the person might be like, oh, I'll charge you $50 over. And then some people will be like, it'll be 6%. Oh, and then they have good websites, like big websites online. I can't think of one now. I'm going to put in the show notes a couple websites you could use that might be safer to buy, but they're going to charge you more on the spot value. You're paying more from those companies. Like, and the whole point of when you're buying gold, you want to keep your costs as low as possible. So you want to keep your shipping low, your spot price low, so that you're getting it for it's like a bargain. Like, you want to get it like as cheap as possible. So especially if you're buying it local to a coin, you won't have that shipping cost. You might be able to talk your way into a better spot price where on a online website you won't. But if you can't find that place or you can't go there or you're not comfortable or you're like Chris, you're more of an online person, then they do have like good sites, like trustworthy sites that you can buy from. And those sites, if you buy like big amounts of gold or crazy amounts, they'll charge you a percentage to store it for you. So they'll store it in their vault. I like to see if I'm buying something physical, I want to see my shit.
I mean, you ain't lugging
But
around bars
if
and
I
stuff like
was
that.
buying,
And for safety reasons.
if I'm buying $1 million worth of gold, yeah, I don't know if I want that, center. So it might be so like then you're doing it in a vault and stuff. But you can also put it local in a bank. What is it?
Safety
But not
deposit
bank vault,
box?
safety deposit box. So that works too. But yeah, like metals are pretty good. I think it's all about diversifying all your stuff. And that includes real estate. We won't cover real estate because we're not really real estate experts, but I think real estate is a good one.
I guess let's just touch it quickly.
Crypto?
No, before we go, I guess on I guess ETFs there's a gold ETF, silver ETF. ETF is what they call exchange traded funds. So I guess it goes back into the stocks.
I call it paper.
These weirdos calling it paper. It's digital.
Because you're not seeing it.
It's digital.
I think I got that from Robert.
So let's say you don't want to get into that whole complicated stuff of,
Buying
coins, storing it, good value, not value. You can do it the traditional spot value. You could do the traditional way. Well, not traditional, but I guess the more modern way than just physical
buying
pieces.
it as a stock.
You can buy it as a stock. So that goes based on the market, more with the market and how things are going. They do the little stock stuff in the background. They manage it. I don't know if all of them do it, but they might. I guess they maybe might back it up with gold. I'm not 100% sure. We don't really do those like that. But I believe some of them might back it up with gold. But they definitely would trade it based on the market. So as the same thing goes, it'll eventually over time keep increasing in value as well. And you won't get anything physical. So to me, it's like if you're spending $100, spend $100 on something that's gonna be yours. It's also good for, I guess, your portfolio overall, diversifying, as you said.
It's just like another stock, basically, for your stock portfolio, honestly. Okay, so crypto. That would be a Chris convo. Again, because Chris is the crypto guy. I'm not really interested into crypto like that. The only thing I'm interested about is actually it's not interested. The only thing that pissed me off is I remember like years back when I used to see this big influencer that was talking about, oh, you can invest in crypto with him for 500. And I'm like, what kind of nonsense? What is this crypto thing? And then now the price of crypto now, and I just feel like an idiot.
Yeah. Another story to add to that. Well, you know what? Let's get into, I guess, what is cryptocurrency. If you don't know what it is, hopefully you should have heard Bitcoins. Right now, I mean, it's like the hot, shiny object. Crypto is just digital money to some degree, digital currency. Um, I guess it's the non-paper version of money or gold. Bitcoin is said to be the store, the new digital gold store of asset. It's been good so far. I mean, as far as the hedge against inflation.
If you're doing a history on crypto, it's also used to be for perverts and inappropriate people to buy stuff on the black market. I would like to totally say that.
Yes, and I guess I could throw in my little story here too with that. Well, maybe I shouldn't say the exact details, but I bought crypto a long time ago to buy some stuff. Nothing insanely illegal.
I can only imagine your sister, somebody's face watching this, like, oh my God, we need to stop this.
But yeah, I bought Bitcoin to pay for this stuff, and now I wish I had saved some of that stuff because I would have probably had some. No, I didn't use that much of it, but if I was at least introduced to it at the time, and if I really knew where this would have went, it would have been crazy to have had anything. Now, I think when I looked at that account, I probably had like pennies in the account because I basically zeroed it out, at the time. But it's crazy that I was involved in it somewhat. I didn't know where this was going to go. I didn't even know really what it was as far as the value thing. I just knew it was a currency that they wanted me to send their money in, and they sent it to them, and that was it. I didn't really think of it anything crazy as you said, like the whole black market and crazy stuff like that. But that's just what the website used, and yeah, that's what they wanted to get paid in. Not one of the ones with all the drugs and all that stuff. That's not what it was.
Just keep moving. You're making this work.
Anyways, cryptocurrency, I guess, is scary because I guess if you follow the news and which side you follow, it's scary because there is a lot of bad side of it, as she's already mentioned. There's the scammy side of it. It's not only scammy stuff that happens. I guess it does happen a lot more, but although to me, I believe the whole cryptocurrency is just downselling the whole story. I do believe that it's gonna end up being a bad thing to some degree that become more trackable. To me, it's easy. I mean, you're creating a whole digital footprint to me to some degree, but I guess there's maybe ways, different layers and stuff like that. But that's another story.
Well, no, I would like to touch on that because it's not possible. It's going to happen. First of all, I'm the kind of person when the government starts getting involved, right? And you're going to tell me the governments are starting to invest in crypto and push crypto. It is no longer for the people. It is, let me tell you what's going to happen with crypto, right? This is why I like to see stuff in my hands, coins and stuff like, you know, crypto is great. Like if you're to make money now, if you have big money and then you can have money next week, I love crypto for that. But for the long term, I don't trust it. And then the government gets involved. Now they want to have their own cryptocurrency. I promise you it's going to look like this. The IRS is going to go into your account. If you thought like the IRS could just freeze your account and take your money from 1 minute to the next, watch until you have crypto and they try to take away cash. First of all, people hate cash, but cash is your friend. You know why? Because Uncle Sam can't come and just take your cash if you have it in your hands, right? Now, crypto, they can track and it's on the computer, it's digital, it's like a Tesla. They can stop you anywhere on the road, an electronic car. I hate that. They can take your money anytime they want on that computer, even worse than a bank account.
Okay, now here's I guess the different side of that story. Yes, you can. And it also depends on, I guess, how shady or not you want to be. But there's different ways of sending it. There's different coins. There's the Bitcoin, and there's Bitcoin you can send to this one, to that one, and different accounts and different exchanges. Because that's where your money really goes for people online. It's into different exchanges, which I guess, like, let's say Bank of America would be like an exchange type of scenario. I guess as an example. And so you send it to Bank of America, and then Bank of America sends it to somebody else. That's what an exchange is, which I'll go over some different ones that I would recommend. But you can store your money on the exchange. But the thing about Bitcoin as currencies is that's where the problems really lie, is when you leave your money on those exchanges because they could be hackable. Bitcoin itself and a lot of cryptocurrencies are very secure because there's millions and millions of numbers that basically have to put together this code to really to crack it. But it's like anything else. Once it's on those exchanges, they're basically big computers, so they're prone to be hacked. The way around that is what you call a cold wallet. Cold wallet is basically like a little USB stick that basically you would remove it from that and what they call self custody. So you send it from digital money on the exchange on the internet to basically like a little USB that's not connected to your computer. You can go and hide it somewhere, possibly
Don't lose it, and do
possibly
not
lose it,
forget your
and
password.
don't forget your password. That's the one thing that
I saw stories.
that I like and I don't like about that concept is what they call is your own keys. So let's say you don't remember what your password is, stuff like that. You lock
Your
it,
money is gone forever.
it's just gone. Like that sounds. Imagine losing millions of dollars to me on this thing you threw away, or I don't have a password to my thing, and you can't email customer service. I got locked out. Let me reset my password. It doesn't happen like that. They give you what they call some keys to recover your account. I couldn't even imagine losing millions of dollars. I'm just getting paranoid thinking about that right now. Losing millions of dollars just because you lost it, fire burned down, your little stick got whatever. It's just crazy.
Pros and cons.
Yeah. That's the pros and cons of that. Okay, so there's Bitcoin versus altcoins. Altcoins is basically everything except Bitcoins. So there's stuff like XRP, Ethereum, you know, they all have, let's say, the top coins. And this, when you're investing in crypto, stick to like the top maybe 20 coins. That's really the less.
20?
There's thousands.
Yeah, but that seems like such a big number. I thought you were going to say like the top 5, top
Well,
10,
yes,
20.
each of them, honestly, with cryptocurrency, they all have their pros and cons and they do different things. So you pick where your risk tolerance is. And that's why I say risk, because there's a lot of risk and reward, and that's where people get screwed. Meme coins, just if you want to gamble your money away, meme coins could work. You could become a millionaire overnight in meme coin, or you could become broke as shit.
But so people know, you can also buy, you do not have to have $1 million to buy a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You can buy small pieces of a coin.
Bitcoin, as you whatever it is, you get 0.001. There's no such thing as you have to buy full shares. Bitcoin is 30,000. Well, not even 30,000 anymore. It's what, almost 100, depending on what month we're in. $100,000. You can buy $100 in it, and you own 0.0000 something of it. And the idea is to keep over time adding to
That's
it.
better than nothing.
But again, it's back to the whole the stock thing I said. Forget about the numbers. Just buy it, save it, keep adding to it. If you followed Bitcoin from 5 years ago, that was maybe $25,000. That was $100,000. It's how many X's since then? 5X since, that time.
That's crazy.
So just in that, and that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the one that I would say has the least gains as far as cryptocurrencies go. Like there's different coins that will 10, 20, 30x in value since 5 years ago. But Bitcoin, I guess, is the most stable and risky one, and probably the one that has maybe the most, what they say, use case and store of value. That's the one that the government is getting involved with. The most people want to say they want to pay with.
It's the popular guy. That's really what
it's really the popular guy. And it has a whole story behind it and security and all that type of stuff. All the big money guys invested in Bitcoin. So if anyone that's not gonna go to shit is Bitcoin. If you want to be safe, buy Bitcoin. If you want to take a little bit more gamble with higher returns, the top 5, 10, 20 coins might be the safest bet.
I don't like to gamble.
If you're young, do it. If you're older, take the Bitcoin. We're still pretty young, I would like to say. So I feel we could hopefully play with that a little bit.
That's what old people love to say.
But don't stress the numbers. At the same time, the stocks, when things are red, things are going to shit, buy it. Bitcoin was 100,000, we're now to 80,000, buy it. It's going to go back up again. That 20% loss sounds like a lot, but it's on sale. Buy it.
Yeah, do not panic sell stuff, please.
And don't panic sell. Oh, it's going down, sell it. No. And back to, I guess, when it comes to if you're into taxes and stuff. That's another thing too. When you sell it is when you actually take your losses. I guess in crypto too. You don't lose anything until while you're holding it. Until you sell it is when you take your losses. So you could just hope maybe you lost 20%, but hold it until it goes up and then, maybe sell it at that point. But you don't lose anything until, you sell it. So that 20% loss is not a loss. It's just on paper showing you that it's went down. Just wait until it goes back up, and if you have to sell it. But you don't really lose anything until you sell it. So don't panic sell. Oh, it's going down, it's going to crash. No, it's not going to crash. Just hold on to it. Buy more. Don't be scared. Don't panic sell. I guess you touch on the cold wallets. A couple exchanges that you can, if you want to get dabble into it. Robinhood sells crypto. I'm not a fan of Robinhood. They've had some shady stuff going on. Not a fan of them, but people do love them. Binance is another good one, but they're mixed with China. They're owned by Chinese companies. So if you don't like China too much, then I would avoid that one. Coinbase is US based. Uphold is another one. International people, especially, Uphold is pretty good. If you want to watch some YouTubers, I like Bitboy Crypto, Coin Bureau, and Altcoin Daily. Those are pretty good follow pages that I follow. Anything else you want to add to it?
No, I'm just going to close off this segment because we're going a little bit over time. So basically, just to recap, patience and discipline. Keep always investing over time, no matter what the market is. Do not emotional invest. Have a budget for your investment.
Oh, that is key. Just touch on that again quickly. Budget something every month, please. Just figure out some
Yeah,
kind of a
even if
number.
it's $20 or something, just start with something. It's the habit.
Don't go crazy, overstressing it. Just buy something, get into it, get your feet wet. $20, buy it. You feel the hardest part is just pulling that trigger at $20. $20 is not going to kill you. Just go ahead and put something in, and once you see how it goes, you'll feel more comfortable going ahead after that.
Don't chase trends and invest in what you understand. So do your homework. Maybe 1 hour less of Netflix and an hour more of one of the maybe guys Chris mentioned. Thank you. And I guess that's it. Now moving on to our last segment, the most fun segment people hate to talk about. I don't know why it's become worse and worse. Taboo. Politics at the dinner table, how to have constructive conversation with different views in 2025. I don't know why politics has become such a shit show topic to discuss. Like I feel like back in the days, people could talk about anything, different point of views, and have like a mutual debate, conversation that would be fair, respectful, and, like you can just learn from each other. Now it's like everybody's yelling at each other. You can tell you're not getting through to people. Like they don't really care. They already made up their mind. Like people don't even want to talk about politics. So they've been tougher. It's getting worse and worse every year. And yeah, it's just like getting really bad. People are becoming extreme in politics. Like you can't be like have a mixed point of view. Like I'll tell you, like I'm conservative in my views. Like I believe in a family. Like I believe in having kids. Women have a certain role, men have a certain role. We're more modern, so you can like mix a little bit. Chris helps in the house. My son, he's a guy, but he helps in the house. Like you can mix. But I believe that there is like basic pillars. But I always say that if we had like a Kennedy, like JFK back then, I would totally vote for a Democrat. So I'm kind of like in the middle, but I do have conservative views. But, like I'm not fully conservative necessarily when it comes to abortions and stuff like that, but I'm not thinking we should abort babies at 9 months, and stuff like that either. So I'm like kind of like in between. So like I have different views on different things, but I can sit here and have a conversation with someone and listen to their point of view. And I actually love that because I like to see how people are thinking. And one makes you, vote for one person, or one makes you pick a certain party. And I like to learn something from you, but some people, Jesus Christ, you can have,
Everybody popping veins.
yeah, people be popping veins. You can't have a like simple conversation. They don't want to hear it. And I honestly think the media plays a big role. I want to say fake media, but I don't want to be like, oh, people are just such a trumper. But it is fake media. And on all sides, like they tell you what they want to hear. Like journalists used to be impartial and just, give you the news. Now they just try to give propaganda, and they're just trying to sway you in whoever's paying their bills the most.
Well,
That's really what it
yeah,
is.
and let's just give a current example right now. Like apparently Elon Musk is going up in space to go and save, I guess, the US space station or somebody up. I don't remember the story, but they're up there, trying to save, American, astronauts in space. But because he's not the current like guy because of the whole Doge situation, he's like shit right now. No, we can't talk about him. And that's not how news is supposed to be. It's still an important milestone of what's happening in history. And regardless of how you feel about the guy, it's still a good thing that's happening. Like, 5 years ago, before he had Twitter or was with Trump, people loved him. People love the whole save America, the whole battery charger card. That's why Tesla's so popular, because they love the whole eco-friendly thing, better environment, which was a Democrat thing. But now because he changed his views for whatever reason, now got on board with Trump, everybody hates the guy, but I don't think things should be like that. There has to be some kind of separation between what is reality and what is really happening. Everybody can have their own opinion on things clearly, but I don't think everything needs to be so aggressive, like people
Yeah.
burning down Tesla stations, all that stuff.
It's not that deep, people.
Like that's honestly to me is terrorism. Like anybody else who did it, if it was a different side of the party, it would be labeled as terrorists. If it was the Republican side doing it to, I don't know, Ford, if they were Democrats, they would be the ones, the media is saying, oh, look at these terrorist groups and da-da-da. But, everything is so divided in the political thing, and
Summer of love.
everybody gets more debated and heated because left and right, and, it doesn't have to be everything political. Why can't nobody ever see each side of the story? Whenever even the BLM side versus the other side, like they burned down cities, their own neighborhood, but you see that it was kumbaya. They're just peacefully protesting, burning down cars, cities, even not burning on Tesla, shooting up
Summer of love.
Tesla stations. Oh my gosh, these Elon Musk is bad guy. That's crazy. Shooting up,
It's not normal.
attacking people in the streets through cars, human beings, you don't even know if they're even a Democrat for that reason. Just because they have a Tesla, they're marking up their cars and attacking them. Like is that where we've really reached as a society?
People have just gone cuckoo, like the Lulu, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And then the next problem is people are so uneducated. So I think that comes with the social media clips. Everybody is watching news in a clips on Instagram or TikTok. Like the clip is coming out of a 2-hour interview or something. Watch the 2 hours before you make up your mind on something. I will never repost something political without fact checking it, but people would just repost anything, and you don't even have the context or the information. And I think that's a downfall in a way of social media, like where something should have been so great, where we could share and learn and get information, they turned it into something so ugly because people are just using it for propaganda to meet their agenda rather than just sharing news and facts. And that's the next thing too. People are not living in facts. They're living in clips, social media clips, the Lulu. And then they get upset, they post it, they get angry, they start yelling at you. And then you try to explain the facts to somebody and they're already like, when read in their head, they're like gone. you can't even talk that person down. So
Yeah, that's the part that I really hate is you can't have a decent grown conversation with some people with this type of
no
stuff.
more.
And I mean, I get it. You have your views, I have ours, whatever. But to say you're getting angry at the person and tripping out and flipping out and they want to kill this person, like you lost it. And to me, I don't think anybody wins when all you see is red. Like, I'm sorry, like nobody wins in that situation, whether it's left, right. I mean, I personally think it happens more on the left side, but maybe it doesn't show it as much.
But also, it's not that serious. Just breathe. Like, Biden doesn't care about you personally. Trump doesn't care about you personally. Like, just take a chill breath. Like, there's no need to like go crazy on your neighbor or your family member over this crap.
Yeah, and let's be realistic too. Eventually, the next 4 years, Trump will be out regardless, and then it'll be. And regardless, these people are, yes, they do control the country, but at the end of the day, are they in your house? How deep in that circle does it really affect your life? I mean, although the LGBTQ people might think that's different, they're trying to exploit you, which it ain't happened. Y'all still here.
It didn't happen
It
8
didn't
years
happen years
ago.
ago. Ain't gonna happen. You're
It
still
hasn't
American
happened
people.
now.
All the people who said they leave in the country because Trump is here,
Why are you still
they're
here?
still here. I mean, all this, just the, I mean, half of the stuff people say that Trump does or whatever it is, I have yet to see in your reviews. He does exactly what he said. And that's the one thing that people don't like. He does exactly what he says. People want to say maybe he's racist, whatever. He maybe said some stupid words. Yes, we can all give him that. There's something he probably shouldn't said. Although I think this round, I think he's a lot better at using his words. I think people just don't like how it's affecting them. He don't like him, period. That's all the media propaganda that's pushed them to think this thing in their head. But I think he's been a lot better and more better with his words, I think, now than he used to be. But that's just because, he's learned. I mean, he's grown since the first time to me.
So, some fun facts. The average person can't handle disagreement anymore. A 2023 Pew Research study found 72% of Americans avoid political discussion altogether to keep the peace. That is ridiculous. People used to talk politics all the time and be very peaceful. Cancel culture killed debates. Instead of engaging, people would write a blog, report, or cancel anyone who disagree. Yeah, this cancel culture has got to stop, bro. Like, it's getting ridiculous. Like, we're all grown adults. We don't live in a cult. We can all have different opinions. It is quite okay. And I don't want everyone to have the same opinion on me. I want, like you want other point of views. There's even things like politics. Chris and I don't agree on. It's okay. But if your relationship can handle politics, it's just like, where are we really? Like, you know what I mean? Like people, like so many people tell you they've lost family members and stuff over politics. It's just insane. It's become so bad. 72% of US adults prefer to avoid politics with family during the holidays. You can't even have free speech with your family. Only 18% frequently discuss politics with family. 58% do so occasionally. 20% of Americans have experienced family estrangement over politics disagreement. And it didn't used to be like that. Like the left, the right, everybody you used to be able to get along. Now you can't disclose who you vote for because it might become a problem in your job or who, like, it's just insane.
Yeah, the one thing she touched in the beginning, I believe it's the media's fault. I think it's, and whether you want to say it, believe it, not, the media is all owned by the same people. There's so many videos, and even the politicians, they also staged. There's so many videos out there of them saying exactly the same conversation, word for word. It's a script. The news station, the radio station, the politicians, it's all scripted. It's not real. They're all pushing an agenda to us, and it's working. And that's why some people are angry. Because let's be realistic. It's like, what do you want to say? Left and right, cult, whatever. They're all pushing a negative story. And honestly, I believe that, especially with the media, and it's a fact, they all love Trump. When Trump wasn't here, they didn't have nothing to say. But now that he's back, they want to push so much different things because if they don't push they cannot push their audience to a side that might even make sense. Simple little things that everybody should be on board with. So let's say $5,000 refund because, with those they found refund so they can give back to the people savings. Oh my gosh, nobody needs your $5,000. I don't need that. I can't do it
I
for
could use
$5,000.
$5,000.
Should people not be somewhat happy with certain things? Like, no, everything has to be a negative, and that is not normal. I don't care whether you're left or right. That should be, as a person, you should have a problem with stuff like that.
Well, people complain, about the Doge thing now, right? We're going to audit the government. First of all, if they can audit us for $600 on whatever that app is, I think we can audit the government because what people seem to forget is the government works for you. You don't work for the government, not the other way around. Like you paid them. Like they are your employees. And I think Pelosi and stuff like that seems to have forgotten that. Like we don't work for you, you work for us. So there's nothing wrong with auditing the government. But presidents have done it before. Obama's done it. The Clintons have done it.
Biden has done it. Well, maybe not currently, but Biden
But in the past,
when he was with Obama.
But nobody talks about that. But because this administration is doing it's like becoming insane. And to me, the problem with this whole thing is it's really what is it, the Trump syndrome, or do you call it?
Trump derangement syndrome?
Yeah, Trump
TDS?
derangement syndrome. It's politics isn't even about politics. And it's also, you can have those civil conversations because everybody has a Trump syndrome. Like if you relate to politics, it becomes a Trump syndrome. It doesn't have to be about Trump all the time. Dude, we had Biden as a president for 4 years. You could follow a Biden page and there's nothing about what Biden hasn't done or what Biden has done. That whole page talks about Trump for the whole 4 years. He wasn't even in the administration. It's like this dude is living free and rent free in people's head all the time. Like, let it go. Maybe focus on policies and let go of your Trump syndrome. It's okay. And then the problem is people are just all about their feelings instead of facts. So because you're so into your feelings and into your cancel culture that you're not going on a facts, like I've had videos that were sent to me about Kamala and Biden. And if you know me, I'm not a fan of either one just because of who they are as people and of what they haven't done. But I've been sent videos that I wouldn't repost because I had to fact check it. I'm just not, because I don't like you, I'm just not going to repost it nonchalant if the information isn't accurate. You know what I mean? Because it benefits someone on with an agenda. Like people just, all I'm saying is when you come in politics is it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to disagree. Just stop with your feelings and come with facts. And you should talk about it because if you're not talking about politics or about things, you can't understand other people's opinion and you can't make things better. How are you supposed to better things if you don't talk about it? Maybe that's another problem in relationships. How are you supposed to make anything better if you guys are not having real conversation? How are we supposed to get better politics if we're not having real conversations? Like you yelling, screaming, and not having any facts is not going to get your point across. It's just like a joke. Like come up with some facts. And if you don't have any, then just listen to the other person with facts.
Yeah, and although I guess, let's be clear, we're more realist. Although I guess we're more conservative, but we still have some, I guess, Democrat values as well, because I think immigration is a good thing to some degree. It needs to be controlled. There's zero problem with people coming in. It's a part of the economy. It's needed.
That's still a conservative.
Well,
controlled
yeah,
immigration.
I guess. And then abortion. Abortion is I don't believe in banning. People should be able to choose. It just shouldn't be like you popping a pill every day. Like it should be emergent situation, like something really happened, or in the cases where it's rape, stuff like that. Definitely shouldn't even be a question. But like, if you're on like your fifth abortion, I think there's a problem with society. Like that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be people be having abortion parties and celebrating like a good thing.
I
Like
don't think that's a celebration. It is a sad moment in a woman's life, and I think it should stay as this.
like when stuff like that comes about, like that's when you know society has lost the screw. Like it's you murdered a child and we're out there like jumping up and down, like,
A
hey,
cake
a
with an
cake.
abortion cake.
Like I don't know
How
how
are
you
you?
as agree left or right, even on the left side, how do you agree with
Oh, justify.
justify that scenario where it's like, sure you have a right to it, but you don't have a right to be an asshole. To be murdering
Well,
over and
technically, you
over.
have a right
You
to be
have
an
the right to
ass.
be an asshole, but meaning like it's you don't have right to me as a human being to like you should have some decency like with yourself. Like, one time happened, two times, three, four, five times. No, then there's a problem. In the trans LGBT thing, the problem with that is all the weird stuff gets grouped into that. Like I think most people, I would say even maybe some conservatives don't have problems with gay people, or trans people. When things start getting weird, you know, like the dudes with the dingling hanging out and you're dancing in front of kids and all these weird stuff going on, like it gets very mixed, and then on that LGBT get mixed with the pedophile type stuff, and that's
Teachers putting
the
teachers putting their views on
teachers
students.
putting their
We're doing
views
too
on
much.
it, and it tends to be too left leaning, and there's a left, and then there's like all the way to left, and that's the problem to me. I think, but the left side is going too extreme, and it's going, I don't want to say crazy, but it's taking away from, I
No,
guess,
no, no.
real.
It's crazy.
It's taking away from real American values, and you could still have left and right values, but to me, it's putting in a way that nobody should be able to agree with some of the things that's happening, like the open borders, free flowing, going nuts, and just randomly coming in. And we're just paying for everybody. It's kumbaya. Here's a card. Here's some money. Like people should have a neutral, be somewhat neutral in some way to figure out middle ground that we can all get along with it. But it seems like the left has to be all the way left, and there's no nothing. I think that's the only way. I think the left has to come back more to the middle for the country to get somewhat to get along. It's never going to happen with going that crazy out, because I think conservatives are decent people to some degree as far as the values. I think there's a little bit of a leeway, but when it goes to like so left and the craziness and the LGBT flags everywhere and you shoving it down my throat, that's when it gets like, no, bro. Like, I think it encroaches too much on everybody's thing. Like before, what, 10, 20 years ago, you could be gay. I don't know. Nobody knew, nobody cared. You were gay, you did your thing, whatever. But now it's like, here's my gay thing and here's my flag, and everybody gotta know, like, why is it like that? Like, you're gay, you like women, you like dudes, okay. It's your business, who cares? But now it's just like, I have to know, and everybody gotta know, and it's like a thing, and it's like nobody sees it. Nobody goes up saying, oh, I love women, I love dudes. Like no straight people don't do that. Like, why is it like that? Why have to push your thing on me? Like, just you do what you do. Like, why is it so in your face? That's the part that I don't think people really. That's why it pisses them off, because it's so like, why are you so in my face with things?
But to me, it's not the so in your face. It's when it comes to the kids, then it becomes
Well, the
just
kids thing, that's a different
a
story.
bit much and inappropriate.
That's another problem too. Yeah, the kids thing, and you're pushing your agenda, and the kids with the whole pedophile books and the naughtiness and the dildos in the books with kids, and like kids don't
Sex
sex
education at
education at
4 or
4.
something.
Like the kids don't need to learn about sucking dicks and shit in primary school, first grade. Like why is that even a discussion? Kids.
I don't even think that's something you should be even talking about at 13 or something. But in this generation, possibly. It's just like, I don't know. But I feel like this is another show. It's more like on morals and stuff, not so much politics. You completely deviated, but you were so passionate. It's okay. We're gonna wrap it up because it's really, really late into the show. So yeah, basically, guys, just like listen to each other, stop this cancel culture, stop popping veins. It's okay to disagree. like Chris said, meet in the middle and then learn from each other. Like, it's all good. It's going to be okay, guys. It's only a person that you're not meeting in person today. And yes, it affects you where they're passing, but you popping vein at your neighbor or your family member isn't going to change deportations or anything. So it's better you talk about it so everybody can learn from each other. Maybe contact someone local. If you're so invested in it, instead of popping veins at your family member, try to do something locally. Start a petition or something. But attacking people you know is not the way, is all I'm saying.
We're only going to be able to get along when we could start having decent conversation with each other and, treating each other like human beings again.
Until then, nothing's going to change. And it starts at home. It starts with friends. It starts with family. It starts with neighbors.
Yeah. And even your kids too, because the values you're passing on from your kids is being passed on to them.
So let's just do better. I guess that's the end of the show for today. It was a longer show. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Until next week, we'll see you next Wednesday. I'm trying to post the shows at 11:11. Mystical numbers. So today we covered relationships in the digital age, investments, different types of investment except real estate, and not except, but main investments. And then politics at the dinner table, why we can't talk about things in this cancel culture.
Maybe one day we can have somebody on to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll see. That might be a shit show, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, eventually we'll get there. So if you guys have any topics you want us to share, you want us to talk about, if you have any feedback on the shows, make sure to leave a comment. Subscribe on YouTube. We have the podcast on all major stations. Podcast platforms. Follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at Bon and Bill Podcast. And we love to hear from you. We love to hear feedback. And if you find value in it, share it with a friend, with a family member, anyone. And thank you so much for the people who are listening. This is Cappy.
This is Chris.
And we're out.
We out.